Hello again. My name is Cathy Sabater, mortgage planner and proud veteran, and with an outstanding realtor. Guess where? Nashville, Tennessee. Her name is Diana Brooke. Hey, Diana.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
So Diana is the realtor that I was fortunate to find a diamond in the rough to help me acquire and close in Nashville, Tennessee. And what we want to talk about today is thinking out of the box and considering purchasing out of state, or if you're already in Nashville, using Diana to sell and or to buy. So Diana's going to briefly let us know, why is Nashville a great time? Because remember, we're all in a hot market, but are you buying for equity growth? Are you buying for cash flow? And that's why you need to call Diana. Diana, give us the scoop on Nashville.
Okay. So Nashville right now seems like we have a lot of businesses that are moving in here. So it's bringing people in. We have, they recently said that we have 80 moving a day here. So with that, people got to have a place to live. So you've got a lot of construction going on here. So builders this is a good time for them because they have people needing places. And then if you already have property here, it's a good time to sell. Our property values are going out the roof. And then what we've even noticed is buyers are bidding over the offer price. You've probably seen that all over the country. They're bidding over the asking price. So it's a really great time to buy now. Competition, but the good thing is it seems to be continuously growing. The values seem to keep on going up.
Right. And so one thing to also note is that I have a software program that when you purchase your property, if you're bidding over asking based on the equity growth in that zip code, the software tells you how many months it takes you to recoup it. So I'll give you an example. I purchased my house, my primary home, last year, and I had to put in extra money over asking, and it told me it was going to take me 9 months to recoup that money. And believe it or not, I lucked out because remember, artificial intelligence, it took me 9 months to recoup my money. And guess what? Not only did I recoup my money in regards to equity growth, not cash flow, right? Equity growth, but my property now could be potentially $100,000 more than it was last year.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
I property it was a condo just 6 months ago. And when we were looking at the details on it, we noticed it was just sold like 4 months prior to that. It was then on the market for $75,000 more than what it was when we found it.
Right.
So we were like, man, look at that. Now my buyer decided mentally, she said, I just can't do it. Right. Because she said, knowing that they just got it 4 months ago and now it's 75,000 more, and it did sell.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. The prices continuously going up.
Exactly. And so the interesting thing when you mention, hey, you could stay and wait, prices, regardless, we know the market's going to shift. It's shifting now here in San Diego, right? We have more inventory, right? So because we have more inventory, some areas you still have to bid over asking, right? Because that's whatever the demand is for that particular area. But a lot of my buyers, we now have the opportunity to kind of take a step back and have choices of homes versus, oh my gosh, I got to go in there, I got to make a bid, I got to do whatever. Yeah. It's kind of shifting because I think we've almost doubled in our inventory in one particular month. Is that going to sustain itself is another story, right? Because now that we have all this inventory, because people are doing what Diane just said. If you own property now, why wouldn't you sell? Especially if you have a condo, because that's what I did. I had a condo, sold it, bought my house, right? So now is the time. I have clients who are selling their homes, gonna rent for a year because it's hot and they're not sure when the market shifts, are they gonna get the over asking? So explain to them what the over asking is.
Basically, that means if, let's say the property is listed for $375, you have buyers coming in bidding, I'll give $395, I'll give $420, I'll give $450.
Right.
So going over that price is what many have been doing.
Right. And then it's interesting because the appraisers, unlike 2008, right? The appraisers back then were really keeping up with how high and how fast the prices were going. What I have found is that appraisers are more conservative. Just because you're willing to pay for it, that doesn't mean it's worth it. And when
Right.
people think this market is going to crash, the difference between the two is this. I paid over asking on my house, but I already got my money back, right? So now everything is equity growth, right? Not cash flow, but equity growth, right? The market is still going to shift. But even, okay, so I'll give you an example. San Diego has a 13% equity growth, right? Even if it goes halfway, I'm gonna do easy math, right? And I'm gonna just let's do 5% for easy money. So if you're waiting for a house to, let's say the house is 500,000, right? And at an equity growth of 5%, that means it's going to cost you $25,000 more next year for the same house.
Yeah.
And the opposite is true. Your buyer didn't take advantage of that 75%. Who knows? She have 75%, 75,000 of equity right now. Who knows, right? We don't know. But now, if you did purchase that home a year from today, and we're being conservative at 5%, you already have $25,000 of potential equity, and that's at 5%. So even if the market shifts and goes from 13 to 5%, you as a homeowner have gained 25%. Now, 2 years from now, that's 50 plus. 3 years from now, that's 75,000. And I'm being conservative, right? Because I already told you I bought my house last year, and I potentially could have 100,000 of equity in my home. Yeah. Just because I didn't wait.
Yeah, and the thing about going over asking that you do have to be careful in that is if, like you just said that about the appraisal, if the appraisal does not come back at that over asking price, now you may be responsible to pay the difference depending on what's in your contract.
Right.
If I was the listing agent and I've got your home on the market, I'm only going to take an over asking if the buyer is going to say, if it does not appraise at it, then we're going to cover the difference. That's what I do as a listing agent. Now, a buyer's agent, I want my buyer to make sure that it's contingent upon the appraisal. So that if it does not appraise, then we get to come back down on the price. So the thing about it, it all depends on the agent that is working with that seller, because if they accept an offer that is contingent upon the appraisal and you've gone over the asking price, then they have to come down to that. But if they accept it and it's not contingent upon the appraisal, then you have to pay the difference of that out of pocket. That's outside of what your regular down payment is. You got to pay that plus that other part of the appraisal.
Right. And then, so like with me, when I give you this analysis to say, hey, if you put $10,000 more, $20,000 more, and some areas, believe it or not, it takes 3 to 6 months to even recoup that money. So at least the client understands on equity growth, when I do make this decision, like you're saying, in California, most of our appraisal are waived, right? Most of them are waiving their appraisals, but some of the agents are putting a cap. So I'm okay with paying over, but it's not, I'm only going to pay this much over, right? And then this way it protects the buyer in regards to that part, because otherwise our offer may not be accepted, right?
Right.
So as the market continues to shift throughout, one of the things that happened in Tennessee is that even in 2008, you guys weren't really affected.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, we weren't.
Right. So therefore, you want to do your research when you're looking out of state. So I can tell you, purchasing as an investor, this is my first time buying out of state. I've always purchased investment in the state or city I live in, but I could not get the return on investment here. So I decided to go to Nashville. And one of the things I liked is, like Diana said, Nashville, it's like the next .com, so to speak, area, right? Because it's cheaper to have a company over there. Their property taxes are lower. They're increasing because of property growth. But when you look at it, we pay 1.25% for property taxes here in California. And on top of that, we have state tax, okay? right? So we pay 1.25, so that's high, where you guys don't have state tax, but yet your property taxes are still low. So that means the people who are managing your money are managing it well, right? Because they don't need that much property tax to manage the city. But as you mentioned, as the city grows, people have to understand the purpose of property taxes is to pay for your local people. That's your teachers, your firemen, right? And whatever propositions you want for your city, that's what your property taxes go for.
So Nashville is a great place to invest because you have value here. You've got businesses coming in, you've got people continuously coming in. So that's a good combination to invest in real estate because you have a continuous flow of somebody in a place to stay.
Right. Well, great. And what phone number can they reach you at, Diana?
My number is 615-477-7149.
Great. Thank you so much.